Speaking of managers, moving on to Liverpool, story that's come out today is that Alonso has picked, or Alonso wants the Liverpool job over the potential vacancy at Bayern Munich. How are you feeling about this deal now? Because you've seen what they did the other day to Bayern Munich. They're flying in their league. Are you excited about the prospect of Alonso, the Liverpool legend, returning?
First and foremost, before we talk about the manager, we need to recognize that the manager market, as you should know, this is a United fan, it's not really stacked with talent as things stand. So it's not like there is a plethora of managers to choose from, to be honest with you. It's literally like, it's literally like, you know, maybe five, not even five, like probably 3, 4, 5 good options max, to be honest with you. I made this argument yesterday and I stick by it. I don't necessarily think going to manage Bayern Munich is the best thing for any manager's CV right now. Let us be honest. Let us be dead serious. If I mention managers who have won the league with Bayern Munich, that's not really, they've had like the best CVs, like the likes of Thomas Tuchel right now, whose reputation is absolutely in the mud. Niko Kovac is another one. Felix Magath is another one. So managers have worked with Bayern Munich, have won the league with Bayern Munich. But at the same time, is it something that, you know, pushes your CV to the next level? I don't necessarily think so. So I don't know why a Xabi Alonso would move to Bayern Munich. Now, Xabi Alonso first and foremost needs to focus on his current job, which is Leverkusen. So people don't know this, but Leverkusen were actually nicknamed Neverkusen because they've never won a Bundesliga their whole life. Like, they actually have 0 league titles next to their name. Sometimes maybe we're fooled by the fact that they have Bayer at the start of their name. But they're not actually a big club. They have like 3 trophies across their whole you know, history. So if he does win the league with Bayer Leverkusen, it would be absolutely an incredible, insane, crazy achievement. So if he wins it, then his CV is increased a lot more. Now, I think personally, look, if I'm being non-biased, I think his best option would probably be wait and then go to Real Madrid, in my opinion. Now, if he does not want to wait and he wants to make that move, then Liverpool is better for him than Bayern, in my opinion, because I think obviously with the Liverpool job, he comes in, he's probably going to have more power than he does at Bayern. He's going to be a bigger decision maker. He's going to be someone who controls kind of more his destiny. Like, even if he makes wrong signings, it's on him. If he makes right signings, it's on him. So it's a little bit like higher risk, higher reward. And when you look at managers who manage Bayern Munich, if you finish second place with Bayern Munich, you're already in a disastrous position. And all you have to do is just look at the current state of the Bayern Munich manager, Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel finishing in second place is literally a disaster. Disaster. Yeah. Like, they don't even have to finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Xabi Alonso comes into Liverpool. People are giving him a bit of time. He's like, oh, he just came over after Klopp. He could literally finish 3rd, maybe win a couple of cups, win 1 cup here, do something like that. And people would be willing to give him more time. And he'd have more power. So I think that move to Liverpool makes more sense to him. But I wins the Bundesliga first, because breaking that Bayern dominance, that's something on your CV right there, you know? So, yeah.
It's a huge thing. Again, I've watched a number of their games in the last few weeks, how they play. I've looked at what people are saying about him, the way he talks and conducts himself. I've just got a feeling he's got the potential to become one of the next great managers. I really do. And I'm worried about him going to Liverpool. I'm a bit like Staffy. I wanted Man United to go after Diego Simeone, but at the same time, I just don't see Simeone leaving. I don't think it's attainable. So then you're looking at who else can come in to replace Ten Hag, and Alonso is a manager that I'm starting to very much like I did with Jurgen Klopp. Ever before he went near Liverpool, I adored what he was doing and was desperate for Man United to bring him in. I actually did a call on Talk Sport just after Fergie announced in 2013 that he was retiring, ever before anyone was doing anything on socials. And I remember they said, who do you want? And I said, Jurgen Klopp. And I feel like history may end up repeating itself again here. And one of the reasons why I want Alonso at Man United is to do with sometimes I say history.
But you know that's never going to happen, though. You know that's never going to happen.
Maybe, but probably not. Probably not. I'm aware of that. But the reason why I want it to happen is sometimes history repeats itself. And a legendary Liverpool player once upon a time joined Man United as a manager and went down to one of the greatest managers, not only in our history, but in football history, in Sir Matt Busby. And he was a very legendary figure at Liverpool. And there's no correlation between that. That's just a romance thing and a bit of hopium from me of history repeating itself, not taking an ex-Liverpool player as manager, but having someone that can become a great. And I think Xabi, I think Alonso he's got the potential to become an absolute powerhouse manager. And I am genuinely.
But Terry, let me ask you a question, honestly. Who else? Put yourself in my shoes right now. Jurgen Klopp's leaving, right? Think about it logically. Honestly, right now, who's available? Because if we were doing the show on the Terrace 5 years ago, there was like, oh, Conte's available, Mourinho's available, Zidane is available, this guy's available, that guy's available. There were like a plethora of options to choose from. Think about it logically now. Who am I supposed to pick? Because if it's not Xabi Alonso, okay, if you tell me Zinedine Zidane, I have already said from the start, primary target, absolute number one. If we can convince him to get to Liverpool, no problem. After that, after Zidane, who's there? Hansi Flick, who was absolutely stunk up with Germany. Nagelsmann, I would be Nagelsmann out the moment he walked in. Potter out, I'd be Potter out the moment he walked in. De Zerbi is a hipster who is unproven at the top level. So it's just like there is no real option. That's why if Alonso wins the league with Bayern Leverkusen, I think secure that shit directly.
Well, I think what Alonso does, it makes you look at the other potential candidates differently. So if Alonso was currently sitting 5th in the Bundesliga, but still playing very nice football, you'd probably go him or the Xabi, because you'd say who else is available that's potentially winning things. Now, look, if between now and the end of the season, everything falls apart for Bayer Leverkusen, maybe at that stage, your mind changes a little bit. But I don't think they are going to fall apart. And if they don't win the league, it's not going to be, they're not going to fall behind in a gigantic way. I actually am going to be really intrigued if you play Leverkusen in the Europa League. Because I think they've got a genuine chance of beating you. They're that good right now.
They're invincible, no?
Well, they're invincible in everything. And this is the thing. This isn't just about a manager doing something that's shocking. If he wins the Bundesliga and remains invincible this season, if he does that, that isn't just, oh, it's a good achievement. It's the beginning of greatness. Pep Guardiola, first club that he managed. How long did it take him to win a treble? A season or two? As an example? The first season. Zidane, comes in.
Season, wasn't it? Treble?
He won the 6-tuple in the first season.
08-09.
Well, he couldn't have won that in the first season because that would have been European champions. So the following years, that
was his first year. Because we beat Rijkaard team, won the Champions League, and then Pep came the next year. And we played them again, Champions League, and they won.
So that's greatness. Zidane comes in and wins the Champions League straight away, then goes on to win it 3 times. There is the potential here. I mean, I think they're going to win 3 trophies this year by Leverkusen? I don't know. But if he goes unbeaten this season and wins the Bundesliga, goes on to win the Europa League, which also means you're unbeaten at the end of the day, you could have 2 competitions that you win with invincibility. That's the starting your career in that way as a manager. And by the way, I think to a degree, doing that with Bayer Leverkusen is, you could argue it's a better achievement than some of that greatness with Real Madrid's and Barcelona's, because those Real Madrid and Barcelona teams were sensational. The managers made them even better. But doing it with Bayer Leverkusen, it gives you it's more Jose-esque than it is Zidane or Pep, in the sense of Jose did it. He didn't do it straight away, by the way, but Jose did it with Porto, and they weren't expected to be that good, but they were. That's the vibes this man is giving me. So yeah, I'm genuinely concerned about him coming to Liverpool, because what I want as a Man United fan is Liverpool to bring in a manager that, I mean, it could go wrong with him, but I don't think it will. To bring in a couple of managers back to back where it doesn't quite work and it falls apart, Van Dijk leaves and Trent ends up going somewhere else. And I want there to be turmoil at your club, but I just look at Alonso, him being a Liverpool legend as well. It just feels like the most perfect timing. And when Fergie left Man United, the timing was poor because we didn't go and get Klopp. We didn't go and get, that's what we should have done. They're not United legends, but we should have gone from Fergie to Klopp or from Fergie to Pep. And I still think if we'd have done that, with the influence and the quality those guys have, I don't think things would have got as bad with their ownership as it did. But we brought in the wrong managers and the wrong people, and it was just a spiraling effect. And I just think Alonso's gonna kill it at Liverpool. I hate
if
saying
you got
it,
Pep in instead of Man City, you'd have been winning league titles too, because you spend even more money than them. The thing is with this whole like Xabi Alonso thing as well. There's one thing I will add on top of the points we've been making all stream long about Xabi Alonso. You know, there's 3 managers that have beaten Pep Guardiola to league titles over the last 10 years. Klopp, Mourinho, and Conte. None of these 3 are trying to be Pep 2.0. And when I look at Xabi Alonso and the way he plays football, Xabi Alonso is not trying to do this possession football, pass left, pass right 500 times and bore you to death. I've seen interviews of his players talking about the gegenpressing. I've seen interviews of his players talking about the style where essentially they rely on the right wing back and the left wing back for creativity. So Xabi Alonso is bringing his own style to it. And sometimes you have to listen to what other people say about a guy to know the honest opinion of a certain guy. And there was an interview I watched with Jose Mourinho who broke it down. He said Xabi Alonso was a player for Rafael Benitez, for Pep Guardiola, for Jose Mourinho, for Carlo Ancelotti. And he said the fact that he worked under these 4 managers, if he is able to mash and these ideas together and actually create a certain system, a certain style that is his own, he will be successful. And this is what he's doing with Leverkusen right now. He ain't playing no 4-3-3, pass left, pass right, just trying to be Pep 2.0. And that's why I think Pep Guardiola is a sly fox, because he's fooled the whole world to do 4-3-3, pass left, pass right. And you can never beat Pep at Pep ball anyway. So, like, you might as well try to do your own shit to begin with. So,
but that's the thing about that Xabi. Xabi doesn't just play like that. If you heard to what Xhaka was talking about, Xhaka was actually making a direct comparison between him and Arteta. He said Arteta's very, how do I say this? He's very stubborn. He likes to play one style only. He said with Xabi, there's a lot more fluidity there. There's a lot more adaptability there. He said we can play 4-3-3 one game. We can play 5 in the back one game. We can play with 2 strikers one game. And he's like, that's the best thing about him. He's such a good manager, but he also knows how to get around it. And that's the one way to beat Pep, because Hassan is actually spot on when he named the managers that have beaten Pep. Every manager that has beaten Pep is the literal opposite of Pep. And that's why I don't remember on what show I said it one time on the Terrace here. And I said, these type of managers are the antidote to Pep. To beat Pep, you have to be the opposite of Pep. This is why the only team that was almost successful in this era was Klopp, because Klopp is the only one that played transition football versus Pep football. And this is why every time they played them, if you notice, even though City were winning the league, a lot of time Pep used to beat him. Pep used to say, I can't sleep at night thinking about how I could beat Klopp. And that's the thing that Xabi could bring into this league. He could match Pep. And don't forget, he worked under Pep, so he knows Pep very well. And Xabi was one of the most intelligent footballers. So a lot of intelligent footballers, not good footballers, intelligent footballers usually know how to go into management and understand the game better and kind of influence the way that they should be playing to these players on the pitch. And this is why he's successful at what he's doing right now with Leipzig. Most of these players at Leipzig, bar maybe what's his name, the right back. Frimpong. No one really knew a lot of these players going into this season. Now a lot of these players are known, and he's doing that with limited resources. And this is what I respect about him. He comes into the Premier League. He knows the Premier League. That's number one. It would be perfect for Liverpool because he knows Liverpool. He knows the culture, and he will come in at a perfect time for a rebuild. If Klopp leaves this year and they start a rebuild, let's say Salah moves and goes to Saudi Arabia and people understand why he moved, it's the perfect time to give a manager an excuse to rebuild. No, I'm actually being objective. I'm saying if he actually does leave, it is the perfect time to rebuild because he's going to come in, he's going to teach a lot of the young players that he brings in, the style of football that he wants to play. Mind you, he has the background of the Premier League and he can make a perfect combination there. This is why I actually don't want him to go to Liverpool. I feel like he would be the perfect replacement to Liverpool, and I hope someone else snags him.
I completely agree with you. And one thing I noticed when I watched the game where they played Bayern, and he played differently against Bayern compared to how he plays most weeks. And I think that unless you have Man City's a little different. All of Pep's teams have been a bit different in the sense of, this isn't a dig at Pep before any Man City fans get emotional about this. He has managed 3 of the best teams in the world. When he's gone in, they've been very good. But he's always managed 3 of the best teams, or most powerful teams, or teams with high levels of monopoly. So he's always had the ability to build a team, implement his style, which is amazing, and be the most dominant force. Therefore, rarely having to change how he plays. And the only manager I've really seen have to adapt slightly to has been Klopp in the Premier League in recent years. Most of the time when you're a manager, you're not the out-and-out best by a country mile. So Fergie, we were the best team in England, but stylistically, he knew that we couldn't go to the Emirates or to Highbury and play our brand of football toe-to-toe against their brand of football because it didn't work. So he changed it up, but got the better of him in terms of doing it. So the great thing about Alonso is he's not so stuck in his style that he says, well, we're going to play our standard way against Bayern Munich today, because they may have lost. Instead, he adapts slightly, makes the adjustments, because he knows winning is more important than this weird hipster obsession with not yielding on your principles. It's not yielding on your principles to adapt for a game or two when you have to. So for me, that's why I think he's also a dangerous manager, because he may take over at Liverpool and not have the best squad in the league in terms of individual players to be able to dominate every game home and away. But he has the ability 4 or 5 times a year to adapt his style, but to still be as strong. And that is potent for me.